Introduction to Aviation, Chapter 2. Pardon me. It's titled Airplanes. We're going to talk a little bit about airplane types. We'll discuss just two. Those are the two smallest airplanes, and the ones most likely for a first-time or beginning pilot to become involved with. And we'll also discuss the major components that make up the structure of an airplane. The first type of aircraft that I want to discuss is an ultralight. Ultralight is referred to as an ultralight vehicle rather than aircraft by the FAA, and the FAA does not govern flight of this aircraft or vehicle if it is used by a single occupant, in other words, no passengers, used for recreation only. It doesn't require an airworthiness certificate. It weighs less than 155 pounds. When powered, it weighs less than 254 pounds, empty weight, excluding floats and safety devices. No more than 5 gallons of fuel. Not capable of more than 55 knots. Has a power off stall speed, which you'll learn more about later, which does not exceed 24 knots calibrated airspeed. These ultralight vehicles do not require any form of pilot license or certification. However, you should make yourself familiar with the 14 Code Chapter of Federal Regulations, Part 103. The second type of aircraft that I want to talk to you about today, only because it's the most likely for a first-time pilot. This is likely something that you will get some time in to learn to fly. That's called a light sport aircraft. For the light sport category, the maximum takeoff weight cannot exceed 1,320 pounds. The stall speed cannot exceed 45 pounds, and it cannot have an in-flight speed greater than 120 knots. 2-seat configuration maximum, 1 single engine, landing gear is fixed, and that aircraft will have an FAA registration N number. You'll learn more about that as you pursue your pilot certification. What do you need to know about an airplane? And basically, here's what you need. You need to have a good idea of what makes it get up in the air and why does it keep flying to stay alive. So you need to know the airplane's basic systems and have a fundamental understanding of aerodynamics. So we'll talk about the major airplane components this time. Those include the fuselage, wings, an empennage, which is rear stabilizer, landing gear, and your power plant. Fuselage includes a cabin or cockpit. That's where occupants sit in the plane. That's where the controls for the airplane are located. It provides some room for cargo, and it has the attachment points on it for things such as landing gear and wings. There's some discussion in your text that you need to go over that speaks about how the strength and rigidity is accomplished by different construction architecture and different construction techniques. I'm not going to talk about those now. It's easy enough to read. Let's see, the wings. Next major component we'll discuss. The wings are airfoils. In a later lesson, you will learn the science behind an airfoil. Airfoils are attached to each side of the fuselage and are the main lifting surfaces that support the airplane in flight. There are numerous designs, sizes, shapes of wings. It's entirely dependent upon the need and the performance of the particular airplane that they're going to be designed into. The next thing we want to discuss is the empennage. That's the correct name for the tail section of an airplane. The impingement includes the entire tail group, including fixed surfaces such as the vertical stabilizer and the horizontal stabilizers as well. The movable surfaces are the rudder, elevator, and trim tabs. This is how you control your airplane in flight, one of the ways. Small part of the big picture. Stabilizer components, things such as anti-servo tab, rudder, and trim tabs are all the movable stabilizer components, and they're very important. The landing gear is something else I'd like to speak to you about. It's principal support of an airplane when it's parked, taxiing, taking off, and when landing. Landing gear can also include floats for amphibious or marine operation on water. It can have skis for landing on snow. It can have amphibious floats, which means it's capable of landing on both land and water. Well, landing gear almost always consists of 3 wheels, 1 front, 2 rear, or vice versa. It's easy to say that the most important part, or most important component of an airplane would be the power plant, the engine. Well, it's not the most important. It's just as equally as important as a fuselage and the wings and stabilization. It is the most maintenance intensive and something you will spend a lot of time with on your own personal airplane. The power plant includes the engine and the propeller. The primary function of the engine is to provide power to turn the propeller. It also generates electrical power, provides a vacuum source for flight instruments, a source of heat for the pilot, which can be very important. Rotating force of the propeller is called thrust. The propeller provides thrust to push air over the wings, keep the airplane moving and aloft in the air in flight. That's a quick overview of Chapter 2. Feel free to read the text or write down questions. Email me. I'll answer all your questions as soon as I'm capable. Move on now to Chapter 3 in the next video.